I'm speaking with none other than the famous Brian White, who is halfway around the world, 12 hours and 45 minutes to be exact, at least by the time zone ways of looking at things. And Brian tells me that he's actually always wanted, he's been talking about it in the show forever, to go into the future. And he is now in the AI future because the cost of living there is about what we're hoping it will be in the United States after AI has made us abundant.
I think all of that is pretty true. There's a lot of people who don't get why a dollar is going to be worth so much more than a dollar. But if you don't have to plant the crop and you don't have to water it or tend it or maintain it, if the machines are going to do the harvesting, why shouldn't it cost less? Uh, well, I think than the trucks driving it. So who's going to drive the trucks? The robots, I'm telling you. Well, the robots, also the robots. So I think we can do this. We shall see. And yes, I am in the future. I am from the future, Randy. And if you want to know, I'm not supposed to talk about it, but in case you're curious, the future is muggy.
Muggy. Okay. Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing you come back, unless, of course, you decide that you like muggy.
Hey, if you like muggy, forget about it.
All right. Well, we want to do today what we commonly do because you're commonly so good at it, and
Mm.
not common, however, in your approach. I want to go around the world to the factories. And partially, I know that you're prepared to do this because, I hang out looking at some of your videos from time to time. And so
Mm.
I know that recently, and I know my crowd doesn't watch your videos
Mm.
because it takes them 3 hours to watch mine. Who has time to look at anybody else's? So
Literally no one.
literally no.
Literally no one.
Right.
Oh,
So
that is
therefore, this is not a repeat. This will just be a consolidation of amazing content that they would have otherwise watched if it wasn't for my Hawaiian shirts.
they're so loud. I can't hear you.
All right, let's start in the south of Texas with
Oh, yes.
the Corpus Christi plant, where you did a
Yes.
video the other day talking about what they're doing down there and whether or not it's actually ever going to make us any money or save us money or make better lithium or any of that stuff. What's going on?
So it's a hedge on a hedge at this point, and that's fine. When the plant was announced, lithium prices were sky high, and they have since corrected. We didn't know if it was going to be a sustained high, if this was real demand, or if it was a speculation bubble. Well, it turned out it was mostly a speculation bubble. It turns out you can get the lithium that you need for batteries. Not all lithium is the same. You need like lithium hydroxide and lithium carbonate, whatever it is. I am very tired, but I'm doing my best. It is that is what the factory plans to do. Now Tesla doesn't make anything unless they think they can be disruptive with it. So that's why they get into something. All things. That's why they still buy blinkers from other from you. But when it comes to the lithium refinement, they said we've got a new process that is going to save money and work. Where are we at with the plant? Well, it is operational. They are bringing in truckloads of raw material, and it appears as though out the other end is coming finished material, finished product, which of course would then presumably go to Austin, not that far away, couple-hour drive. So it is in in process. Is it cost effective? Was your other question? Well, we don't know. They haven't told us. I would guess at this stage, it's too soon to say. I mean, it's probably negative right now because it's still so new. They just fired it up. It's not running at 100%. It can't. How could it? It's brand new. But once it gets up to 100%, probably will be profitable. But again, I said it's a hedge of a hedge. The second half of the hedge is, are we going to be having tariffs on imported lithium? I mean, it's no longer relevant for battery sourcing because battery sourcing requirements on EVs are gone at the end of September, or at least for cars in contract by the end of September. But I think there's still sourcing requirements for the batteries that go into general production. And for that, it'd be It'd be a lot easier to just get it locally than find a friendly country that you're permitted to buy it from under those rules. So even if it ends up costing the same as foreign lithium, which I don't know that it can, because shipping is incredibly expensive. It takes time. And then, of course, you've got some kind of tariff at the border, and then you lose your battery manufacturing credit. So, to answer your question, yes, they're making lithium.
Okay. And the raw lithium might be coming out of South America. I know they do have contracts out of Chile. I understand that Bolivia the other day has gotten rid of some of its not so great leadership, and they've got some new leadership there.
Mm.
So there's a possibility that Bolivia will become a good resource for the raw lithium. Of course, as it commonly happens with these raw materials, the big issue it was the refining, which almost all the refining is done. Well, a small amount is done in the US, but a massive amount of lithium refining is done in China, which is the one thing that I think Tesla, as well as others, are trying to get away from the dependency on that refining being done in China.
Wouldn't you love to have your products, your parts, your pieces come from everywhere? Not because you want to buy them from everywhere, but so you have options. And certainly, wouldn't it be great to have them in the places where you make the products? So I would like to see them have a refinery in, or anyone have refineries in Europe. We know they already have them throughout Asia, specifically China, but have them in the US as well. And in terms of lithium mines, there's some great lithium reserves in the US and Canada. Canada, I think, actually has some lithium mines. I think Mexico has one, but the US has potential mines. It just takes time to bring them online. And the erasure of red tape that we had hoped for, I don't think has materialized yet. Maybe it can.
Yeah, I know that we have the Salton Sea in California. We've got the Great Salt Lake in Idaho, Utah. I can never.
Utah. I don't know if those are
Salt
the
Lake
right
City,
kind
Utah.
of
It's
lithium.
Utah.
Yes, it is. I've seen it. It's fascinating.
And yes, I
Um,
actually tried to swim in it, and I am
oh,
so skinny and have such low, or at least at that time, had such low, what's it called, body
body
weight,
fat,
body fat, that
body mass
I
index.
could not float even in the Great Salt Lake. Yeah.
Mm. I don't know. I think it looks a little briny for my taste, and that's coming from a brine. Hey, that I think that those are the wrong kinds of lithium. I don't know that the salt extraction ponds are the right kind of
Oh, yes.
lithium.
Oh, no,
I think.
they're definitely looking at these. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. I know the process in Texas is looking at igneous lithium that comes out of rocks, but hey, man, get what you can.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so let's move on to Reno, which we have talked about from time to time in terms of what's happening with the semi trucks. But Brian, the other Brian, and CERN, and all kinds of people have been doing massive amounts of projections about the huge potential that's going to come out of both the autonomous electric semis as well as platooning, once we can at least allow second, third trucks to follow a single driver. But I understand that you just did a great video about where we are in terms of the manufacturing. Are we on schedule? Are we going to see more trucks in December or January?
So the first problem with what you said is that you said I recently made a very good video, and I'd caution you to be a little more realistic with your viewers. It was fine. It was fine. No, I tease, of course. Everything does appear on track. The heavy equipment we expected to see going in has gone in. We saw several giant trailers, oversized loads, the kind with more wheels than it's easy to count. One even had a second truck behind it for either pushing or pulling, depending on whether it was going up or down a hill, because the load was that heavy that it was reasonable to assume the single truck would not be able to control it. And these are not significant inclines, it's just a lot of weight. So that's how big the equipment is. Are they on track? Yeah, I think so. Q4, Q1, that's remains when I expect to see it. When you look at a factory from the air like Lucid or what was the other one down there in Arizona? Boy, why am I drawing a blank? Lucid and
Oh,
Nikola.
the one that went broke. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
And the one that might still. Those two factories, Bear's Workshop was out there every week documenting the progress. The building is going up. Isn't this exciting? And the investors and the fans would say, see, it's just like Tesla. And I would say, where's the equipment? You've got a very large building. That's great, but it's not a factory. It's a building. Now with this, what we're seeing is every time he goes out to fly, there's wooden crates that have been unboxed that are being hauled out. There's a lot of trash, basically, which means they're unloading stuff into the factory. They're getting it outfitted. As we understand, they may already have some or all of the assembly robots they need. We believe they have stamping equipment. So it's happening. It's on schedule. And it is getting more and more challenging each week to bring updates because everything's inside now.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of lots and lots of equipment and boxes and unboxing and unboxing. That's what it was. So, will this be a new Canadian holiday, Unboxing Day?
Yes, I'm confident, but I will double check with my Canadian resource, Mark. I have to see him 25% less due to softwood tariffs, but
That's true.
hey, what are you going to do?
All right, so we have unboxing taking place in California and Texas, I believe, is where most of the
Oh, in
activity.
California? I haven't heard anything about unboxing in California.
I'm sorry, in Texas. In Texas, I'm
Yes.
confused. We're going around the world,
Mhm.
and I've already become disoriented.
Mhm.
And because, of course, you're in the never mind. So then we have something happening in Texas with regard to cybercabs, according
Mhm.
to 𝐂𝐦𝐚𝐢𝐥, I think, and others. Lots and lots and lots and lots of equipment piling in, and maybe some sightings of cabs that are going through testing. I don't know.
So there is a rumor, and I don't know if it's been disclosed or not, but Joe Techmeyer on July 3rd had a chance to go through the factory, second annual pilgrimage through the site, and he was allowed to go anywhere he wanted and ask any questions he wanted, but he had to sign an NDA. I asked him, is there a Cybercab line? And he said, I think I'm allowed to tell you that there is, but it's not operational. I saw the space where Cybercab is going to be made. That was in July.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's still seeing equipment going in means this line is looking ready to go. And the beauty of Unboxed is that it's very scalable. If you wanted to only make 50,000 of whatever per year, you could. You could make a small line that does that.
Mhm.
If you want a line that's making 1 million or 2 a year, you can just add in more pieces, more gills, and it will be able to move it like that. What we are seeing, though, is castings. Castings is not commonly something that they work on until it's just about time to go. You remember we only saw Cybertruck castings a few months before they went into production, maybe 4 or 5, which was longer than usual. So that tells me that if we get rid of the safety observer, the hitchhiker, that's what we should call him.
That's right.
Once Tesla robotaxis get rid of the hitchhiker, there's no reason not to have cybercabs deployed. You'd have 2 passengers, so you'd have to tell people on the app 2 passengers, and that's it. Why not? So it could be just about time. What will that change? It'll improve operational efficiency because they're cheaper to operate per mile. It will gather all the testing data needed to understand how to roll them out wider. And in terms of marketing, I just don't think you could buy better press than that.
Absolutely. So what about the ones that we're citing now that
Oh,
apparently going
crash test,
testing? Yes.
testing. Again, I don't know which things he said publicly and which things he said to
In the
me.
morning, this was in this morning's, he reported on X that he was seeing what do you call it?
Mhm.
Aerodynamic testing.
Drone, yeah, wind tunnel testing.
Double testing.
Um, it is my understanding that they have been doing crash testing all along. Since before I met with the engineers, it had been crash tested. It would surprise me if they hadn't reached as close to design lock as Tesla is willing to do, which is to say they don't do design lock. It would not surprise me if it is ready for that and they're doing final crash testing. In the US, you self-certify your crash tests. Now, after the fact, NHTSA or the Insurance Institute will come along and buy some cars and crash those as well. But and if your results don't match theirs, there's going to be a couple questions. Our system of self-certification seems to work quite well. So if they're saying that it is crash worthy, it is crash worthy. And if they're saying that this is the final design, now's the time to do the final crashes, make sure, get it done. So that's this again is just more pieces to the puzzle. How many pieces of proof do you need to draw a conclusion? How many dots before we can figure out what shape this drawing is going to be? I think we've got all but one or two. So I think we're just about there.
All right. So as we explore the Cybercab rollout worldwide, it would seem like even though we might have some continuing unhappiness with the brand in Europe, that Berlin has just massive capacity and they can charge a lot more than China can for Cybercab rides. Now, we do have the issue of regulations where the regulators might take until the 2030 or 2037 or something before they approve Cybercab. But at least Berlin has tons of capacity. Are you anticipating seeing Cybercabs being made in Berlin?
Ever? Yes. We know that there are, well, I'll get to it. We know that there are preliminary permits that have been filed to expand to the north of the factory. We believe that that would be for Cybercab and perhaps Semi. The beauty of both of those two products is they don't require the kind of vertical space that you would see from a normal Tesla automobile factory making threes or Ys. The Cybercab could be built kind of anywhere. It doesn't have the huge requirements that you need. It would still take a good year or two. Do I expect them to deploy Cybercab in Europe? Yes. And I think it will happen by 2026, but not AD. I think society will collapse. Humanity will forget what calendars are. We'll create a new calendar. And 2026 years after that, Europe will approve it.
So we may have fewer problems getting it certified in China, but we might have less incentive to make cybercabs in China. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
So do we have any evidence at all of the beginnings of equipment or a spot being provided or anything else with regard to cybercabs in China?
No, because the Giga Shanghai site is full. It is completely full. And more than that, they shoot down drones. They literally will RF zap them out of the sky. You cannot fly. Even if you could fly, there's nothing to see. The site is maxed out. They would almost certainly build a new facility in the neighborhood, just like they did with the Megapack factory there, and build them there. And where? We don't know, unless somebody happens to be driving by and see someone wearing a Tesla hard hat. You just never know where it is because everything is in flux. The whole Pudong district is a massive development site, has been for 20 years. Even in the few years we were watching Giga Shanghai footage, we watched the entire neighborhood grow up around it, but not the entire, just like a third, which means it's still got room to grow. So that's, yeah, no evidence in Shanghai, no evidence in Berlin, but in Shanghai, I don't think we'll see it.
Of course, we could export some vehicles if we wanted to test the market. We know that there would be issues with those exports in terms of possible tariffs or whatever. Although I guess there's no tariffs in Europe now for cars, so maybe we could export those to Europe. What about the Model YL in China? I'm reading different reports. This morning's reporting seemed to suggest that they had orders for 50,000 Model YLs on the books going into production starting now and shipping starting now.
Within hours, less than a day of its opening the order book, I saw 38,000. By the next day, I saw 40. If the number today is 50, that would only surprise me in that it might be a bit low because now you can actually see it and touch it. Last week, they went out to showrooms so people could get their hands on one, their grubby paws. And we saw reviews from a variety of people ranging from 5'10" to 5'6", and different opinions on whether or not that third row is useful. I've seen people get mad because you can't put 6 people 5'10" and above in it. And I say, that's a van, my friend. What you need is a van. He said it wasn't. I said, okay, it's a hug. If you need a hug, let me know. And he did not care for that. That was really just poking the hornet's nest. But look, different cars come in different shapes. If you're a family of 6 in China, the odds that 2 people in your group are under 5'8" is almost 100%.
Especially if they're only 6.
That's the thing. The kids,
right.
The grandparents, the older generation is shorter.
Because they were shorter to begin with, or because they shrunk, or both?
I assume both. But there was a time of malnutrition in China when crops were really struggling. But hey, it appears to be very popular. It appears to be something that will boost sales to the next level, keep the factory humming. Will it increase sales? I don't know how much more you can increase out of Shanghai. That factory is kind of topped out, maybe a little bit. So if they're gonna, and of course the people saying, well, it's too expensive for what it is. Look, 50,000 orders, my friend. Yeah. 50,000. Yeah. That's substantial. And that's before you even start exporting it to other markets Giga Shanghai famously serves. Yeah. So this has legs.
I think their upper middle class numerically is actually larger than the United States' upper middle class. Numerically.
Numerically, that would not surprise me. It's, a billion people adds up pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that means a lot of folks that could afford it for sure. All right. I thought I had one more question about China with regard to any other factory info on any of the products that you're thinking off the top of your head that we should have covered.
So no, in Shanghai, again, we just don't have footage. Texas, 𝐤𝐸𝐺 does great work keeping us up to date there to a degree that I don't feel I could add anything by covering it.
I'm always expecting you to tell me what Joe said. It's kind of like telling.
Oh, that's fun. I would point out, I saw people saying they just built that giant building for compute and now they're abandoning it. No. The building remains. The project remains. Which chips they're using in the building may shift. I also saw lawmakers in Buffalo apoplectic at the thought that we just approved Tesla's expansion and now they're not going to house compute resources here. What? They're not designing Dojo in Buffalo. They're just running computers. They will still run computers in Buffalo. So I don't understand. It's the complication. It's like with FSD. It's like with megapacks. Reporters don't have the depth of scientific understanding to know what on earth they're talking about.
Much less
And
city
the
council people. Yeah.
right. Oh, and politicians. Oh, I speak in sound bites. It's frustrating, but it's, I guess, our job to help people understand. And if everyone knew what we knew, we wouldn't be making videos. We'd just be hanging out, I guess.
All right. So I wanted to leave this till last. What about the Nepalese market for Tesla vehicles? More than 10, under 1,000. What do you think the numbers are going to be? Yeah.
So it's tricky. There is rumor of a showroom opening any day,
Any
but it's
day.
not a Tesla. It's not a Tesla showroom. It would be a dealer showroom, a dealer that has a license to sell Teslas.
Hmm.
There's a trick to the import tariffs. There's, if you want to bring in a gas car, it's like a 200% tariff minimum, but it could be 300 if it's a real gas hog. But on EVs, the tariff could be as low as 10%.
Wow.
Could be. In order to qualify for the 10% tariff, you would need to have a very small motor. And then the bigger the motor, the higher the tariff.
Hmm.
So I interviewed 𝐑𝐚𝐬𝐝𝐲. He is a very big channel here, 175,000 subscribers.
Nice.
And he has a Model Y for which he paid, I think he said, $145,000. And that's because it had to go through a parallel channel, be imported with 145% tariff, then the dealer markup. It becomes cost prohibitive. And then once he got it, he had to change the suspension because it doesn't have the ground clearance for the roads here. So you need a good, no exaggeration, 8 inches minimum of ground clearance. That's what the economy cars ship with, is 8 inches of ground clearance.
Wow.
Because the roads are challenging. Because monsoons
Mhm.
do not favor roads. So how will Tesla do? I don't think Tesla's going to software limit your horsepower. So I think you're going to be facing the maximum tariff.
Mm.
Tesla is not going to factory swap your suspension. So that's another tremendous expense because those parts don't exist here.
Mm.
You will have to order them all in custom. So once Tesla has an actual footprint here, I still think sales are going to be very low because annual sales of all cars, four-wheel cars in Nepal, is about 20,000.
20,000.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Okay.
there's that.
It's not a big market. Okay.
No,
All right. Well,
no.
so now I understand. I've been having a DM with your wife, and she just can't wait to come back with you next trip to Nepal. Is that my understanding? Your next vacation with your whole family will be in Nepal.
I don't think it is. Let's just say they are, for a country so generous with the spices, they're very stingy with the toilet paper.
I see. So there's one reason. All right.
Yeah, it's wonderful food, but if you ask for mild, what they give you is lava. So,
I see.
yeah.
Okay. Well, Brian, thank you very much for reporting once again from Nepal. And I think that brought us up to date on the factories. And now listen, I just want to say to all of you out there, what did we forget? What didn't we cover? Stay sweet and juicy. No, stay juicy and I don't know. You
Tuned.
something like that. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not
He
very
does his best.
I just don't do yeah, I can't. It's been great talking to you.